Okay, so Julia and I are going to talk about fragile and failed states. We're going to be analyzing what are they and what are their main characteristics. Okay, so I am going to start with fragile states. So, fragile states. As it was seen in class, a fragile state is defined as a state which is unable to perform its roles to guarantee domestic security by exercising its monopoly on the use of force within the territory. It is characterized by having a weak capacity of the state which puts their citizenship in a vulnerable situation. Their main characteristics are the lack of carrying basic government functions, the lack of the ability to develop mutually constructive relations with society, and all these things are going to put the state in a vulnerable situation, which is going to make more possible the idea of an economic crisis or a social crisis. A state can be defined as fragile for many reasons, but some of them is when the legitimization of the state is being questioned, if the human violation of rights is present, if it exists a rise of the factional elites, the intervention of other states is also going to be a reason. Citizens searching for a range of state, bad quality life or living conditions, and also natural disasters that may cause unpleasant consequences. So now Julia is going to talk about failed states.
Hi, I'm Julia, and I'm now going to explain what a failed state is. As Sam said earlier, a fragile state is one that cannot guarantee the safety and security of its citizens, becoming a potential candidate for failure. A failed state, on the other hand, cannot perform the two main functions of a modern sovereign nation state: project authority over its territory and people, and protect its national boundaries. Due to this, they lose all legitimacy in the eyes of both their citizens and the international community. Their institutions are flawed and non-functional. They have crumbling infrastructures, which impedes them from providing minimal basic public services such as education and health, which results in deteriorating human development indicators such as high infant mortality rate and low literacy rates. Um, they also, just as with fragile states, they cannot maintain a monopoly on the legitimate use of violence as well as minimize internal conflict. They cannot formulate or implement public policies which could help them build infrastructure and deliver services, as well as create more equitable economic policies. They also cannot provide for representation and political empowerment of its citizens. They cannot protect their civil liberties and human rights.
So now we're going to talk a little bit of the implications for the international community. Okay, so implications of failed or fragile states in the international community usually are going to depend on the context of the state. Also, these implications for the international community are most of the time going to be reflected in the neighbor countries, like not on the other side of the world. Okay, so some general indications or implications for the international community are going to be conflict or civil war, which is going to cause unrest and instability, and probably immigrations in the new regions. Also concerned. Two philosophers, Iqbal and Starr, conclude that these failed states do not spread more failure, but rather help to create conflict on the neighboring countries. So Julia is going to talk about an example of this.
An example that proves the theory is the failure of the state of Somalia, which was a big knock for their neighboring countries, especially Yemen, due to the thousands of immigrants searching for a better life. Another country that was affected by these was Ethiopia, which considered it essential to overthrow the supreme Islamic court from Somalia's government. So they entered into Somalian territory in 2006, which caused them a large number of casualties.
Okay, so finally, we're going to talk about states with these conditions according to the Fragile State Index, of course. So first, Julia.
In this map, we can see a gradient of colors depicting the different levels at which a country is at risk of becoming a failed or fragile state, with going from blue, which depicts countries which are at a sustainable or low risk, to red, which depicts countries which are at a higher risk or at the alert zone.
Well, so now I am going to talk about the top ranking of these fragile states. So according to this fragile state index, the 10 countries that qualify the most as fragile or failed states in 2021 are Yemen, Somalia, Syria, South Sudan, Congo Democratic Republic, Central African Republic, Chad, Sudan, Afghanistan, and Zimbabwe. I think it's this one. So with this, we will conclude our presentation, and here's our bibliography for the video.